Welcome to Geeks Keep You Running. This is Season 1, Episode 40. Guarding Your Digital Fort, Part 3 of 9 on the CIS Framework. Hosted by Jonathan Beck. And sponsored by Piedmont Technical Experts. The experts that keep you running. Hello, digital defenders and tech enthusiasts. Welcome to Geeks Keep You Running, brought to you by Piedmont Technical Experts. I'm your host, Jonathan Beck. Here today, hopefully to take some of the mystery out of cybersecurity for you and keep the fun meters on high. Today we're at episode 40. Can you believe it? This is part 3 of 9 on our explanation of the CIS framework. And we're diving into something that sounds like it's straight out of a spy movie. We're going to be talking about data protection and secure configurations. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. The CIS framework, it's not a new workout routine, though it can flex your cybersecurity muscles. It's all about having the best practices to protect your data. Think of it as the ultimate guide to not getting digitally plundered. Last week we talked about inventory control of your assets and software. This week we're talking about data protection and secure configurations. There are a total of 18 topics we'll be covering in this 9-part series, so stay tuned for more. But let's break it down, starting with why your Aunt Edna's birthday pics and your company financials need more protection than password 123. Again, today we're going to be talking about data protection and secure configurations of your company's assets. We will begin our discussion today with data protection. Data protection are the practices that ensure that your data cannot be stolen, destroyed, or damaged. What are we protecting our data from? Well, lots of things, but the three we're going to talk about today is intellectual property theft, ransomware and malware, and data loss. Intellectual property theft is the equivalent of getting mugged digitally. More and more we have our assets that are out on the internet and only exist digitally. So we need to protect those assets so the pirates of the internet can't make off with your digital booty. Protecting your intellectual property can come in many forms and is dependent on how you work with and store your intellectual property. This could be through hardware like intrusion prevention systems or intrusion detection systems and firewalls, or it could be software if all your data is hosted in a cloud environment. If you need help determining the right protections for your organization, you can reach out to Piedmont Technical Experts for their expertise to help guide you to your personalized solution. When people think about viruses these days, most immediately think about ransomware. And ransomware is certainly a popular virus type that is making its rounds through the internet. But in reality, there are more types of malware than just ransomware. So protecting yourself and your organization starts with a good endpoint detection response system and an advanced threat protection software protecting your online assets. Data loss is most commonly caused by the accidental or intentional deletion of data from your system. The number one protection you're going to have against data loss are your backups. Now, backups come in all sorts and flavors, and they all serve a purpose. But which one is right for you? Well, that's going to depend on a couple of abbreviations, RPO and RTO. RPO is short for Recovery Point Objective, and in plain English, it boils down to how much data are you willing to lose and still be able to function your business. That's going to define how often your backup solution needs to take a backup. Next is RTO, or Return to Operation. And this is going to define how quickly a restore needs to happen, whether it's a file or a full system restore. That is going to help shape which solution or service you choose, as well as help to define that service level agreement needed for your organization. The next topic in the CIS framework we're going to be talking about today is secure configuration of your assets and software. So what makes configuration secure now? Well, that's a great question. Sometimes the answer to that question is clear as mud. It typically refers to the access of least privilege. What does that mean? It means that you should only be giving a level of access to your computer's intellectual property and software that is required to perform a task. So, some examples of hardware settings that you would use to practice that level of least access would be things like restricting who has admin rights to your computers and to your servers and to your software environments. You would set screen timeouts with screen locks. So after a certain amount of idle time, your monitor would cut off and it would require you to log back in when you got back to your machine. Having good passwords and good password management. And having multi-factor or MFA set up for your logins are all examples of good hardware settings and protections to limit access to your systems. So let's talk about software protections. Number one, if someone doesn't require a certain software package to do their job, that software package shouldn't be installed on their computer. Another thing is a lot of software packages will require admin rights to install the software. That does not mean that the user needs admin rights in order to run the software. Some softwares certainly require admin rights to run properly. It is a thing. It's not a good thing from a security perspective. If this was an in-house developed application, I would be talking with the developers to potentially clean it up a little bit and make sure it doesn't require admin rights to run properly. Sometimes that's just not an option. When that's the case, you may be required to give users admin rights to a share or to a computer to run an application. But because it's required by the application, you are still technically granting the privilege of least access. It's just not as tight as most CISOs and security officers are going to like, and it certainly gives an area for improvement. Now, out-of-the-box software, most of those you do still need admin rights to install the software, but it doesn't require admin rights to run the software. Again, there are no absolutes in IT, and you may have to contact the software vendor to get instructions on how to run that software at a reduced access level. So we've covered the what, the why, and some of the hows on how to implement data protection and secure configurations of your company's assets and software. To sum it up, protecting your data and configuring your assets securely isn't just for the IT gurus. It's like brushing your teeth, a daily necessity unless you enjoy digital cavities. Well, that's it for today's episode of Geeks Keep You Running. Keep your data locked down and your configurations tight and your sense of humor intact. This is Jonathan Beck signing off from Geeks Keep You Running. Stay safe out there in the digital world.